everyone, and welcome back to my new series on OCD. Last week we talked about how OCD can keep us trapped in those relentless cycles that are being fueled by intrusive thoughts and also compulsive behaviors. We learn how our brain's alarm system can get stuck, making attempts to suppress thoughts or avoid triggers actually backfire. Today we are going to talk about the cornerstone of OCD treatment, the very thing that your brain tells you not to do. And yes, I can imagine that even me talking about it right now most probably is already causing you to feel really anxious and really uncomfortable. But what if the way out of your OCD is actually facing your fears head on? Imagine a situation that every time when you toast a bread, your fire alarm goes off. You know it is just a toast, but your alarm screams fire. We are going to learn today how to reprogram that alarm with the exposure and response prevention, ERP. So what exactly ERP is? It is definitely not the magic pill, but it is the most effective treatment that we have at the moment to treat OCD. And you can think of it as a two-part process. First, we have exposure. This is where you intentionally and gradually confront the thoughts, situations, or objects that trigger your obsessions and anxiety. This isn't about seeking out danger. It's about staying in the presence of your fear and allowing yourself to feel the discomfort rather than trying to escape it. And secondly, and just as crucial, is the response prevention. This means choosing not to do your compulsion. No rituals, no checking, no washing, no mental reviewing. Nothing to neutralize the anxiety. You are learning to tolerate the discomfort and allow it to pass naturally. Now, why does it work? Because it actually boils down to simple and very important psychological principle of habituation. When you repeatedly expose yourself to feared situations without performing a compulsion, your brain learns a new vital lesson. The danger you anticipated doesn't happen, or if it does, it's not as catastrophic as your OCD predicted. And the anxiety surprisingly naturally decreases over time. It's like that fire alarm. If you keep toasting the bread, the alarm blares, but there's no fire. Eventually your brain learns to ignore it, or at least not to panic. From neuroscience perspective, ERP actually helps us to rewire our brain. As documented in research on brain plasticity and OCD treatment, we know now that by exposing ourselves to those fear situations without involving in those neutralizing activities, we actually weakening those overactive neural pathways that we talked about in episode 1. Your brain builds new, healthier associations, learning to differentiate between real danger and OCD's false alarms. You are literally changing the way your brain responds to fear. So now, ERP isn't about forcing you to jump into your biggest fear, but it is a structured, systemic process. And the core principle here that is actually extensively explained in this book, it is about creating hierarchy of fears. So you would start small. So you would start working with something that maybe is causing you mild anxiety, and then you work your way up to something that is more challenging. For example, if you have contamination OCD, a small step might be touching a doorknob, then touching a surface you perceive as slightly dirty, then maybe handling something truly dirty like maybe rubbish, all without washing your hands compulsively afterwards. You stay with the anxiety until it naturally decreases. And this brings us to a crucial response prevention part, which is your commitment not to engage with the ritual. Every time when you resist the compulsion, you send a powerful message to your brain. Means I can tolerate the discomfort and the predicted feared outcome is not happening. And this is where the real learning and the real freedom begins. And here we have to be honest with ourselves. So this is going to be uncomfortable. Even at times you might feel like, that's it, I can't tolerate it. This is too much for me. But this is where the acceptance and commitment therapy can be helpful for you in dealing with this discomfort. And I talked about ACT in my previous video. So if you're interested to learn more about it, then I would encourage you to go and watch this video. ERP asks for willingness, a willingness to experience anxiety, the doubt, the uncertainty for the sake of values and better life. It is not about liking the anxiety, but about allowing it to be there, knowing it's temporary and necessary part of reclaiming your life. It is like learning to swim. So you don't learn to swim by avoiding going to swimming pool, but you go there. You dip your toes in the water, then maybe you go all the way, you wet your body, and you start learning slowly. You practice. The more you practice, the more confident you become at it, and then you can master it. And it is important as well to acknowledge that ERP is not the easiest thing to do. It requires a lot of patience, a lot of practice, and also you need to be prepared that before you're gonna feel better, you might actually feel worse. But as it is with everything, the more you're gonna practice it, the better you're gonna become at it. The goal isn't to feel zero anxiety. It's learning to tolerate it and seeing that it won't last forever without the compulsion. Start small, be consistent, and celebrate every single step forward, no matter how tiny it feels. While we have a lot of really good self-help materials for OCD, like for instance this self-help book, for some people who are dealing with complex and severe OCD, the therapy might be the best option. ERP, it is a very powerful tool to deal with OCD, but it is not only about what you do. Sometimes it's also about how you relate to certain thoughts and feelings. So in our next episode 3, we're gonna learn how to shift our relationships with those intrusive thoughts, how not to get tangled with them, and also how to learn to be compassionate to ourselves in this very difficult process of overcoming OCD. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, then please like it, subscribe. If you think that someone could benefit from watching it, then please share it with them. And I'm gonna see you in the next one then. Thank you. Bye-bye.